Heather's on it.
On what? On Let 'em Go, Let 'em Grow?
She approved the earlier video, so she's
probably... Oh, okay. Gotcha.
She's probably staring at it.
Okay. Come on, connect. Looks like it's trying.
Oh, there we are.
Okay, it's live here. All right, everybody. Stumbling and bumbling our way through the
clicking away
the intro here. Jeez, oh Pete's. Can you tell it's Father's Day?
Yeah, I can. There we go.
Everybody hang with us here for a second. As usual, we're going to do a little bit of sharing. And we'll get into the show. We got some good stuff to talk about tonight. So,
Chris Schnur's already on.
Hope everybody had a good Father's Day.
That's right.
It's a hot one, man. I'll tell you that. It's definitely a hot one out there. How about you, Dan? Did you have a good Father's Day?
Absolutely. Dan Yass is on board.
Hey, Dan. What's going on tonight?
You know,
what were you going to say, Danny?
It's kind of funny that... It's not funny at all, but how ironic. A couple weeks ago, we were red in the state, and now they got flooding up in the UP like you wouldn't believe.
You know, that's incredible. I seen a post up from, I believe it was Michigan Tech, up there at Houghton and Hancock area. Or no, it wasn't. It was northern Michigan. I take that back. Near Marquette. And the roads, like the actual asphalt off the roads is like crumbled up and missing.
I know.
From the rains.
It's wild.
It's just simply incredible. All right, I got one more here, and I will be ready to go. Okay, Dan, you let me know when you're ready.
I will be in momentarily.
Okay. All right, looks like we got a few people chiming in now.
I think we're ready.
You ready?
Coffee in hand?
Yeah.
Good to go.
Yes, I don't have my cup, though. My cup's dirty. So I don't have my Hunter's Blend coffee cup, but I do have my Hunter's Blend coffee. So, and it is 90-plus degrees, kind of like Dan Yassa when we were shooting that other video, right?
Shooting the video with Dan and having coffee in 90-degree weather.
Right on. So, all right, Bill Hoffman. Hey, what's going on, man? Okay. So you ready to kick this thing off? Here we go. Stand by. 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in a hot cabin tonight on Father's Day with Dan DeFall. What's going on, Danny?
Happy Father's Day, and it is hot.
Yes, it is.
But we're in the cool cabin.
It's like a blast furnace outside. But we got, speaking of blast furnace, this week with some things coming down with deer hunting. It's kind of like a blast furnace, wasn't it?
Oh, I know. You know, you got to like it when something happens on Facebook, on social media, and, you know, in the state, and it gets put out on social media, and everybody just jumps on board and has a good old time.
So, I tell you what, we got a special guest on with us tonight, and let's just jump right into it. Hey, Lincoln, you with us still?
Yes, sir. Still with you guys.
All right. We got Lincoln Rohn from Michigan Deer Hunters, Let 'em Go, Let 'em Grow social media page. Is it hot on your side of the state?
It is extremely hot. It's 94 degrees, humid.
It's August weather.
Chilling by my, yeah, it is. It definitely is. We're just relaxing by my dad's pool. Fortunately, it's about the only place you can find relief is in the water.
Gotcha.
And so it's a good place to be. Heck yeah.
Man, I tell you what, you know, I don't know how the deer make it out there in the woods with a fur coat on, I swear, but, you know, they do,
I know.
Thank goodness, but, you know, a lot of stuff going on. We'll kind of get into that a little later in the show.
I did see, yesterday morning, I had to let the dogs out at, I think it was either 5 or 6. It was early, but it was light.
Right.
And I saw a fawn walk through the backyard.
Oh, nice.
I was excited.
Yeah. You got
Actually,
future star there.
I have a wireless covert camera on my food plot, and about 15 minutes ago, I got a picture of a doe feeding in a food plot. It's like, it's 92 degrees.
Right?
Are you kidding me right
now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they got to make milk, you know. They need that food right now. But, man, it's like, can you wait till it gets a little cooler in the evening or something? Jeez.
Right.
So,
you know, and having Lincoln Rohn on is a dual purpose.
It is tonight.
because not only is he the voice of Michigan and let him go, let him grow, but he's dived into something that I really don't know a lot about, and I wanted him to come on to explain it, how he got to this point. It was just like he announced it and this and that, and all of a sudden,
bang, there it is.
Before you know it, Best Outdoors in Packer Maxx. Lincoln, you got to explain to us what's going on. What did you do?
Well, I was very fortunate, and I had talked to Jeff Best from Best Outdoors years, I don't know, it's probably going on 6 years ago, and we actually purchased a Packer Maxx from Jeff, and we've been using it on our food plots ever since, and he's actually a big supporter of the Let 'em Go, Let 'em Grow movement, and he had donated a couple of units to our summit, and he has also donated, some other things, and he was instrumental in getting a big donation from Jay's Sporting Goods for the summit, and he's just been a good, big supporter. We've talked many times, and he all of a sudden, right out of the blue, called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking at selling my business. Would you be okay with me posting it, on the page for sale?" And I said, "Well, I'm interested."
Hey,
let's talk about this.
Right.
So I had, we talked, and he was actually pretty excited, that I was interested in it, and we started negotiating, and I ended up buying the company from him, and that transpired sometime around March. And so yeah, everybody, it's basically it's been a really huge, very cool opportunity for me, because it's something that I've used for years, and I believe strongly in the product. So makes it a little bit easier on my end to when you believe in something that you're trying to sell, it makes it a lot more sellable.
So you got to kind of test drive the product before you bought it.
Yeah, literally, and and again, with the success that we had through our fruit plot program, it literally was that missing link. It kind of took us to the next level. And we were growing pretty decent food plots. And big things in Durango is our property is it's sandy soil, and so retaining whatever soil moisture you can is a big deal.
Right.
And so obviously the Packer goes right hand in hand with soil moisture retention. So so being able to use the thing for several years prior to getting this opportunity was big. So I knew we had a viable product, and it's patented, and so able to, through a couple different avenues, I was able to take advantage of the opportunity.
So this Packer Maxx, we've got it up on the screen. We've got pictures of that that you sent me. We have up on the screen. Comes in different sizes.
Yeah. Yep. There's a standard unit, which is a tubular frame, and then there's a 4-foot unit, and then there is a 4-foot heavy-duty unit, which is a 3/8-inch steel frame. That thing is like a Sherman tank, and then there's an 8-foot heavy-duty unit, and then there's a 4-foot 3-point and an 8-foot 3-point version available.
Okay, the tubular frame you got hooked up to your quad here. I see that's the picture we got up right now. Or is the
Yep.
Okay, so you got it hooked to the quad, and that's the size that you would recommend for an ATV?
Yeah, for ATV, we have the one we bought was an HD unit, and we pull it with a 610 mule, which is not a super powerful machine.
Right.
And it pulls it just fine. We've actually got ours filled with sand.
Okay.
And it weighs almost 600 pounds with sand. It weighs about 400 with water. So.
Okay.
Obviously, it's not as portable if you fill it with sand, but we don't need that portability because it's some of the property we use the Packer on. So.
Right.
If you have multiple properties and they're going from property to property, then obviously you'd want to fill it with water so you can drain it and bring it to your next property.
And I got to imagine you got the little plug on the side, the yellow plug we see in the photo. That's where you fill it with sand or water, right?
Yeah, yep. It's an inch and a half opening, so it takes a little bit to fill it with sand. There's no question, but the thing works great. I mean, it works fantastic with water, but it works just a little bit better with sand. So if it doesn't need that portability, it's worth filling with sand, no question. Now, so through some other opportunities, actually, Justin Oak with Dream Point Outdoors, and he's got a show on the Sportsman's Channel called The Game of Inches, and I've gotten to be pretty good friends with Justin, and he is going to do, obviously some commercial stuff with Maxx for me. He's going to be featured on his, one of his food plot shows next fall or next summer, I guess. And but when I brought him the actual backer, we started talking, and so everybody knows, these portable basketball hoops.
Right.
Well, they've got that big drum in the back that you fill with water. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a new product out, and I can't think it off the top of my head, but I'm going to be doing some research. Justin's actually going to try it out this weekend, but it's a gel that you add inside, these basketball hoops, and then you add like 16 ounces of water, and it's like 7 times heavier than just water.
Okay. So you're adding weight to it with another product.
Yeah, with gel. So, and then when it comes time to drain it out, you put another packet in it. It breaks it down, and you're able to drain it out. So,
interesting.
So I'm really going to be looking into that pretty hardcore. Just it's just another option to to add a little bit of weight to it. So
right.
But the drums are made of cross-linked polyethylene. They're they're extremely durable. You can. I'm not going to say that they're bulletproof, but I mean you can hit them with a sledgehammer, and you can't crack them.
Right.
So nobody out there, don't try it. Don't go out and shoot one just to prove Lincoln right or wrong.
Right.
That's
right.
Good.
There's a disclaimer.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So okay. So it's Cultipacker. It's you got the bigger versions. You got the lighter versions for ATV use for smaller food plots. Well, everybody's going to ask the important questions. Where can you get it, and what does it cost?
Well, you can buy them online. I have most of my sales are online. You can just go to packermaxx.com, and you can purchase them right through the site, or you can call me. You can do an over the phone purchase, whatever you prefer. I do have a couple of places that are carrying them. Long Range Archery in Holland has a packer there, and then Hesperia Sport Shop has one there. And I'm working on getting them into some other areas of the state. But for right now, that's it's mostly online sales, or you can purchase them through those guys.
Okay. Now,
and go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So the 4-foot tubular unit is $4.99, and that includes shipping.
Okay.
And then the 4-foot heavy duty unit is $5.99, and that includes shipping.
Okay.
So those are probably my biggest sellers for food plotters. Funny enough, I do have some ag guys that actually use the 8-footers, the 3-point and the and pull behind 8-footer. But if you're doing a several acre food plot, that 8-footer does come in handy.
Sure.
Without question.
So basically, you're gearing these towards guys who are doing their own food plots, couple acres.
Yeah, there's that's kind of what they're geared towards. The 8-footer, you can still do some smaller half-acre plots, but it's not quite as maneuverable, obviously, as the 4-footer. So. And if they're doing, a couple quarter-acre hunting plots or half-acre hunting plots, that 4-foot unit, it really works well. We just planted our beans 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It's 3 acres, and I use the 4-footer on it. So.
Now, I imagine the 8-footer version, is that the one in the photo with the field behind it?
It's got the two tanks on it, or the 2 drums on it.
I can't tell. It's a side shot, and I just see a field that's been cultipacked behind it in the photo you sent.
I think that's still a 4-foot unit.
Okay.
So basically the 8-footer is 2 of the heavy duty 4-footers side by side.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah, I've this has just been a great opportunity for me, and some really cool things have happened along the way. So Justin Oak obviously is going to be featuring them, and then Michigan Whitetail Pursuits. Those guys, again working with those guys, and they just you may have seen it. They just released a short video of Food Plot Friday.
Okay.
And they actually just until the plot, they had actually a corn planter come in and plant corn with the planter, and then they went over it with the Cultipacker, with the Packer Maxx, and packed it.
Nice.
So,
Right, and anybody wanting to go look at some of these videos, you can. Do you got the videos on the website?
they're on the Facebook page.
Okay, yep. You can go to Facebook page. You go to Facebook and type in Packer Maxx, and then you can go and he's got the videos. Yep, and he's got all the videos there. So,
well, I'll tell you what.
Yep, yeah, there's
go ahead.
a couple of operational videos, and that are on there. So, lots of different uses for them. There's again, it's all about soil moisture retention and seed to soil contact. Increase the germination rates, and by compacting that soil with the grooves in it, it channels that moisture to the bottom of those grooves. It can compacts the soil so it retains that moisture, which is again very important. So
especially in sandy soil like what we deal with at our place. Moisture is everything.
Yeah, 90% of northern Michigan is sand.
Right, exactly. Right on. Well, I'll tell you, we're bumping up on our first break here. We come back. There's much more that we want to talk about with Lincoln. Some stuff happening here in Michigan with the DNR, the NRC, deer regulations, and Lincoln and a bunch of people from his group have been front and center on some of this stuff. So let's step outside. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll pick up the conversation there. We'll be right back after this.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, on the live stream, hang with us real quick. We will get going on with the next segment here. So, you got questions on Packer Maxx or anything? Make sure you text them in here, and we'll after we get done here, we'll ask Lincoln, and we'll have a little live chat.
Yeah, I got a little bit. I got one more. If there's time in the next segment, I've got one more thing to share with you about Packer Maxx coming up. So
okay, well we'll do that coming right back out.
Cool.
And then we'll jump right into the other stuff going on here in Michigan. So,
sounds good.
All right, here we go. Stand by. All right, second segment of the show, everybody. We are back live on our live stream. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, make sure you get over and check it out. The live stream. Dan, you post that on Wednesdays?
I post. We do the live show, obviously, on Sunday nights.
Right.
Live at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10.
And then we release the podcast on Monday.
Yep.
Or Sunday night.
Late Sunday night.
Right. But then I'll re-release the video on Wednesday. So you can watch it either Wednesday or at your leisure later in the week.
Right. And if everybody that's on a live stream, if you would, take and share the link to this live stream right now. We'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. And,
People that think would be interested.
And I re-release it over on YouTube. So you can check us out on YouTube.
In the middle of the break, for those of you on the podcast, we were talking with Lincoln a little bit. He's got something else that he wants to share with us about the Packer Maxx before we go on. So, Lincoln, you said you had some more information?
Yeah, yep. So another big event for us is I was able to. I've been talking back and forth with Mossy Oak Biologic and the Gamekeeper, back and forth a little bit, and over the last couple of months, and we actually locked down a partnership with Mossy Oak and Biologic and Gamekeeper. So there's going to be a Gamekeeper edition Packer Maxx.
Sweet.
Very nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a big. Thank you. It's a huge deal. I actually spoke right with Bobby Cole himself, the president of Mossy Oak, and the fact that he reached out and was interested in this product is pretty cool. And they recommend the Cultipacker on almost every bag of seed they sell. And he's like, we don't actually offer a Cultipacker, so it's a perfect marriage. And so we're working through details of the licensing agreement, and got that locked down. So you'll see it hopefully in the fall edition of the Gamekeeper magazine. and you'll be seeing some media come out on social media about it too.
Well, let us know as soon as we do, because I am actually on that staff, and Danny's on the regular Michigan Michigan Pro staff.
I'm on the regular, and Mike's on Gamekeepers. I'm on regular.
So. Yeah,
excellent.
Works
cool.
right into what we do. So another great addition to the Mossy Oak family.
There you go.
So that's very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. No question.
Absolutely, that's a big step in Packer Max, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see him at
sure.
ATA this year, maybe.
There you go. He should be down at ATA selling that thing.
So you get down there.
Good chance of it.
Good
chance of it.
If that's the case, then we'll have to go out and have a burger afterwards or something, one night.
There you go. There you go.
Well, I'll tell you what, that goes right into kind of what we're talking about next. I mean, we're talking about putting food plots in, talking about deer hunting.
Exactly, and you know what? I don't want to put any pressure on Lincoln about what we're going to talk about next, but just so he knows that Wayne Sitton just said, hey, guys, he's anxious to hear Lincoln.
Okay, so there you go, Lincoln. You've got the floor, man. Just kind of said a little bit of information here for what happened this week, because, obviously this show is going out all across the web. A lot of people don't really know what happened in Michigan. But Lincoln, give a little bit of background, if you could, into what kind of led up to this meeting this week, if you could. And, I mean, you've got the floor. I'm going to let you roll.
Okay. Well, and I appreciate you guys in the support that you've given our movement in trying to get the word out. Obviously, the more people that we can touch, the better. So we've been working a little bit of just a little quick background. We've been working with the Department of Natural Resources of Michigan. We've been working with them for approximately 7 years through the Let 'em Go, Let 'em Grow group. There's been other people that have been working with them far longer than that, trying to get antler point restrictions implemented in this state. So. For the balance of the state. So we have the Northwest 12. We have a shining star up there. It's like the holy grail of Michigan deer hunting. And we have tons of data, from those 12 counties, 13 counties actually, if you include Leelanau, and which has been under APRs for, I think, about 12 years now. And so there's no question that these have been incredibly successful up there. So we've been trying to get these implemented. We've been back and forth with the department. It has been an absolute struggle. Survey after survey after survey have shown a ultra majority of Michigan deer hunters would be in favor of antler point restrictions. And yet they still continue to kick the ball down the road. And I mean, it has been a frustrating ride. I mean, literally, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources has misled me personally, among other people. They have strung us out. They have flat out been untruthful with us. They've told us many, many things that have never come to pass. And so this week, this is all kind of culminating to this week. So then we throw in CWD into the landscape, and so we came up with we worked with QDMA. They're a big supporter of us. We're a big supporter of them. We've had our disagreements on certain areas of things that we should do or shouldn't do, but ultimately, at the end of the day, they share exactly the same goals as we do, and that is better deer hunting for Michigan and to basically to save our hunting heritage in this state. So we introduced CWD to the landscape, which again, a lot of fingers have been pointed. It was first found in Michigan in 2008 while they did a big surge for their implementation of the CWD response plan.
Right.
And so they outlawed baiting. They did all these things in 2008. Well, then all of a sudden, they pulled all that and said, okay, well, we can bait now. We're not going to, we're going to stop testing in these areas because we haven't found anymore. Well, so nothing was done since 2008. Well, then all of a sudden, boom, we start getting cases popping up again, lots of them. And at least according to the department, this seems like a lot anyway. Now, when you consider how many deer have been tested, how many they've found, it is a minuscule amount. So there's been some questions as to, the severity of this disease, and does mortality of the disease outweigh the mortality of deer hunters? I mean, are these deer going to be dead long before, well, they likely will be dead long before they'll ever show any signs of CWD.
Right.
So, so there's a lot of back and forth. This disease has been in the landscape since, I don't know, 1960 or something like that. And, you would certainly think that there's been a lot of lessons learned along the way. You'd think that some of the leaders, in the deer world would be able to put their heads together and come up with something. Well, many of them have, and many of them have tried different avenues and that haven't worked. And so now we have an opportunity here in Michigan to try some new things. And we put together through vetting this proposal. Tony Smith, who you guys probably are very familiar with, actually drew up the baseline of these regulations that we proposed and gave to the department. Wayne Sitton himself has given his blessing to this proposal. Dr. Kroll has seen it, given his blessing. We have 3 state representatives that have that we've been working with, right along. They are in our camp and fighting hard for us. I'm going to drop their names a minute. That's Tristan Cole, Kurt Vanderwall, and Scott Van Single. Those guys, all 3 signed off on this proposal. They believe in it. Michigan one buck rule. Okay, we reached out to them and said, hey, we want to start working together. We got to come together on this. And so whoever thought that would have happened. So the Michigan one buck rule signed off on it. We have QDMA signed off on it. Leaders in the QDMA community have signed off on it. And so we submitted it, and basically it's gotten nowhere, seemingly. So the meeting comes. The Department of Natural Resources came up with their proposed regulation package to fight CWD, and it is absolutely one of the most incredibly stupid, outrageous pieces of toilet paper I've ever read in my life. That's what I'm going to call it, because I can't understand that highly intelligent biologists would look at this plan and go, this is going to work. Guys are going to buy right into this. Guys are going to just, they're going to be happy hunters. They're going to be engaged. They're going to continue to hunt in the CWD zone. It ain't going to happen. I can tell you who's one person that's not going to do what they're requesting be done ever, and that's me. So they came up with this bright idea. Basically, it's a deer. It's not just a herd density reduction plan. It's a plan to basically eradicate deer. And they say it's not, but anybody that looks at this plan can clearly see that that's what its intentions are.
Isn't this plan kind of backed off of what happened in Wisconsin back in the early 2000s? Isn't it very similar to what they did?
As far as I'm concerned, there's no difference. Okay. And they basically, so we're talking the 4-day gun season in October. We're talking unlimited doe permits. They've expanded the surveillance zone 13 counties. There's a core area now, and so it's unlimited doe permits. You can shoot bucks or does on your combination license with any license, any season. So everybody's already got 2 doe tags in their pocket. and then they can buy unlimited, regular doe permits, and then they can purchase, they can within those 13 counties, they basically all but eliminated muzzleloading season, because now you can hunt with a rifle during muzzleloading, and it's not just a doe hunt with a rifle; it's a full-on shoot any deer you want during muzzleloading in these 13 counties.
So it's not a antlerless tag. It's anything goes, right?
It's anything goes. You can shoot. I mean, obviously you gotta have a tag for it, but you can shoot bucks and does. So I could theoretically, I'm not going to, but I could bring my 300 mag in the woods during muzzleloading and shoot any deer I want.
Now, aren't some of these counties below the rifle line?
Yeah. So anything within the below that line, then you'd be able to use your 450 Bushmaster.
Okay. So
or slug gun, whatever.
Straight wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we're bumping up here on our time for our second break. Let's step outside. We'll take our second break. When we come back, let's continue the discussion along the lines of what we're talking. We'll be right back after this. Okay, let me save this off real quick. That was a good spot there to kind of take a quick break.
Sure.
Guys online, if you got any
questions online, let us
throw
know.
them in.
We got Lincoln sitting down, all calm.
He has been calm tonight.
He hasn't swore once.
He saved that for the meeting, right?
Right.
All right. Here we go. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back. Third segment.
I just thinking about what Lincoln said in the last segment. They took the muzzleloading season in those counties,
right?
And said, okay, now you can use
it's free for all
your slug gun or your rifle, depending on where you're at. So, those people that kind of like the thought of, hey, the rifle hunters, slug hunters, they had their chance.
Yeah.
And now, hey, I'm a muzzleloader. It's my chance now. Not so much.
Well, the thing that really gets me is the fact there's going to be a 4-day gun season in the middle of bow season.
I haven't gotten there yet.
And somebody, I put this out there when I first saw this proposal come up, and they said, well, we have it here as well. There's a lap over, and we have to wear orange in the woods. Well, you know what? During bow season, a bow hunter does not have to wear orange, unless they change regulations for those 4 days. And then it's like, okay, so if I want a bow hunt and I got to wear orange if they do for those 4 days, well, then there goes my stand location. I mean, your bright neon thing sticking out, and all the time you spent for your stand, to be able to hunt it and have it concealed, it's blown. It makes no sense to me. To me, it's more of a safety issue.
It's definitely a safety issue, without question.
And we've heard of other places, where people have been shot just walking through the woods or a bush, and they've been shot, and it's like, I didn't see him, and that was with a bow. One guy got shot in the arm, and here you're gonna, it's a recipe for something to go bad.
Yep. It
is. It's big time. Yeah, it's just a conflict between user groups. It just is. And it's just not it's just not solid. And to think that guys are gonna here's my problem. Okay, in order to combat CWD, we came up with a solution that we feel is going to keep hunters. It's going to do two things. When you limit a hunter's ability to shoot two small bucks or small bucks in general, you immediately put more pressure on the doe cohort. Okay, nobody within our leadership group is arguing the fact that we need to reduce our deer densities. I mean, we do, without question. We're the only state in the country that consistently, I don't even know, it's been done since 2009 or so, or 2004. I'm not sure the exact time, but we're the only state that shoots more bucks than we do does. And that's not a good thing. So we understand that we need to shoot more does, and we need to do a far better job of that. But at the same time, we are asking for, in order to keep hunters shooting does and hunting within that core area or the surveillance area, they're going to have some sort of incentive to hunt there, because people are going to be very hesitant to eat deer from that area even.
Right.
So how are you going to get these guys to shoot all these does, still be hesitant to eat them, and continue hunting in this area if you don't offer them some trophy potential. Listen, guys, we're not trophy hunters. This regulation package is not a trophy regulation by any stretch. All APRs are designed to do is to bump yearling bucks to 2 years old, and then the dominoes, the rest takes care of itself. You automatically, by doing that, you're going to increase your older age structure in bucks by protecting the majority of the yearling bucks. So it's not a trophy system at all. It's simply designed to bring those deer to the next level. So
you mentioned that, Lincoln, and we've got 2 comments already. James Laundra says, and we wonder why we continue to lose hunters at rates than other states. And then Kevin Craven says, the NRC continues to drop the ball. Hunters are your best tool to contain this horrible disease, and yet they continue to make decisions that drive hunters from the field.
Right. And that's exactly the whole thing. So when you start to you have to have something to keep these guys hunting. And I'm telling you, larger, more and bigger bucks is going to keep people hunting within those areas. Because if you don't offer them an incentive, they're going to go somewhere else. Okay? Our property is now in the core area. Not one single doe has been found, or deer has been found in Nuevo County with CWD, yet we're included, the entire county is included in the core, not just the surveillance. We're in the core now. How much sense does that make to you guys?
None.
I mean, right, exactly. Ottawa County, not one single positive. Muskegon County, not one single positive. I mean, they're in the surveillance area, but it seems like there should be, I don't know.
It's almost like a shotgun blast for an answer. Here, we're just going to do all of this, but yet not think of the results of what they just said.
Right. And if you don't offer these guys incentive, they're gonna hunt elsewhere. They're not gonna. It's almost gonna. I believe that this is gonna backfire on. I'm dead serious. I think guys are gonna go like. I mean, if I think they're not taking hunter mindset into consideration at all. If I think everybody around me is shooting all the deer, the last thing in the world I'm gonna do is shoot a deer, a doe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
whereas if they're go ahead.
And you'll see that when, especially in the ag areas where you'll talk to people. I talked to a guy at work. He's in Lansing area, I think, and he was telling me that a few years back, 50, 75, 100 deer in the field, no problem at all. He's not a hunter by all means. He's kind of more of a horse guy, but he'd see them.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. He goes, now 10.
Well, they tried the same thing up in the Northeast in the TB zone back, I want to say, in the early 2000s. There was unlimited tags and put a hurting on the herd. Now, where I hunt, we personally on our place have way too many deer. It has rebounded. But there's, they went through it, and I remember times up there at our place when we just didn't see a lot of deer, and I mean very, very few.
Right.
And it put a hurting. Well, look at the amount of businesses in that area that closed.
Oh man,
that was the hunting.
You go up to Lewiston, or is it Lewiston that was where the necropsy was at?
No, that was up near Hillman.
Hillman.
Yes.
So you go to Hillman, it's like a freaking ghost town.
Yeah. And you look at all the mom and pop shops are closed.
Yeah, you could look at that and go, man, this used to be a thriving community. It's literally shuttered businesses everywhere.
Well,
so guys aren't going to hunt that area. If they do what they did in the Northeast, I can't believe they're not taking the Northeast TB zone and going. That was a disaster because now guys won't do it.
Right. Yeah, we've learned from that, so now we're not going to do it.
Right.
And that's a good test case because it's actually been around for enough years to actually look at everything and go, okay, what would we do differently if we did this again?
And what has happened in Wisconsin?
Right.
The same thing happened in Wisconsin. Right. Did it make a difference?
Exactly.
No, it hasn't made a difference.
No, made no difference. So why don't we manage our deer herd? So, and my whole thing is, if it's good for these 13 counties that they want to put into the surveillance zone, why isn't it good for the entire state?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we want to keep it from spreading. So why why don't we use common sense regulations that are going to really help to generate doe harvest and keep hunters engaged at the same time. Mm-hmm. You can do some of these other things and still keep hunters hunting on the landscape and keep them happy by offering them better trophy potential. I mean, you don't see a bag of, or a deer attractant with a spike horn listed on the cover. You see it with a big bucks. Big bucks sell.
Right. Okay. Absolutely.
That's what guys. I don't care who you are. If you're the ultimate meat hunter, everybody wants that big buck.
Everybody wants to hang a set of antlers on the wall. That's just the way. Yeah. That's why we're there.
So one reason why we're there. Why don't we manage our herd for quality? Lower deer densities, because that in turn helps you with quality, because you have better forage, you have more forage, you have, your habitat is in better shape with the lower deer densities, and we can have really, really good buck hunting at the same time.
Yep.
So that's what going to help. Our proposal, we believe, is going to do.
And again, another friend at work who hunts Iowa mostly has land here, and his attitude is totally, I hunt here, but he knows he's going to Iowa, and I think December usually is when he heads out there.
Well, I know several guys that don't hunt here anymore.
And Lincoln went to Saskatchewan last year, seen what happens out there, but yet, he comes here, and it's just that, how come we can't try to make it, Michigan, a destination spot?
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. Is I have a lease. My family has property in Newaygo. We've had it for 40 years, but yet I have to lease property in Illinois for better trophy potential. Mm-hmm. I have to. I took a trip to Saskatchewan last year. I'm going back this year.
And that's money to be spent here in Michigan, but it's not.
Right.
And they
exactly.
And they have that data from the Northwest 12 that is also, they have economic data as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. There's so many things that would be positive out of this, but there's not one positive thing that out of the proposal that they've submitted. There's not one single positive. They're gonna eliminate the deer in that area, and two things are gonna happen. Either they're gonna kill all the deer, and then guys are gonna not hunt there because there's no deer there, and then they're gonna repopulate, and we're gonna be right back in the same situation. Or it's totally going to backfire, and nobody's going to kill anything in that area. Mm-hmm. Because I tell you what, listen to this. So last year, I did not draw a doe tag in Newaygo County.
And now they don't want to wipe them out.
I did not. Right. I never draw. If it's so bad up there that I can't draw a doe tag, but yet I still have to protect my crops with a dual perimeter electric fence to keep them from eating all the frickin', so that my beans get established and my turnips get established. I have to keep the deer off. So
that right there tells you that, and I think Ohio does it county by county. But it's like, okay, so maybe we got to change the management style here.
Right.
Or the people in control of the management style. That's what I'd like to see. Taking a little bit of a step back, getting back to the meeting that happened this week and the recommendations that came down, these recommendations that came from the DNR to the NRC, who are going to set policy or the rules for this year's deer hunt. We actually had, Dr. James Kroll came from Texas, came up and spoke. Ted Nugent came up from Texas and spoke on our behalf. Eric Schnell, the Michigan president of QDMA, was there. Actually, the Brian Murphy, what is his position? Is he the head?
He's the chief executive officer of QDMA.
The CEO of QDMA.
He
came up and spoke on our behalf.
At the June meeting?
At the meeting last week.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
Amongst other people.
So we're talking just ordinary people off the street that are concerned, came in and spoke out against this, and so against this regulation package. So there's hunters looking at this going, what in the heck are they thinking? Mm-hmm. What are they thinking by but this isn't going to work. And so our big thing moving forward, I got to get a drink of water, sorry.
Oh, no problem. It's just,
tell you what,
while you do that, a couple of comments that are coming over from Kevin Craven. I can't talk tonight. Our DMUs have been too big for too long. That goes back into like micromanaging different areas, right?
Yep.
And then he also, and also he says their decisions are going to drive the hunters that are left just to trophy hunt and hang them on the wall, and who would eat them?
Right.
Okay, well, talking about this meeting, in these regulations, what in your mind, I mean, I know you're trying to rationalize what their thinking is, but in your mind, what do you think the reason is for this, for these regulations?
I have no idea. I have no clue. They're using models that and I'm not a scientist, and nor do I claim to be. But Jim Brocker is, okay? He is our go-to guy, and they're using models that are inaccurate, that make assumptions that do not factor in hunter mindset. And so, why the department is doing this, I have no clue. Listen, they're smart people. They should understand the fact when they had all these stakeholder groups saying, we're not going to do this. If you guys implement this, we're not doing it.
Right.
Jeff Antes from our group sat right there, told the commissioners, you guys implement this, we ain't doing it.
Yeah, right.
That's going to be my new hashtag. We ain't doing it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and that's you manage your own piece of property the way, and that's kind of what everybody's been doing in the Northeast right now.
Right.
It is a lot of the clubs in our area and other landowners have kind of turned it around and, are going with that QDMA model.
Right. Exactly, and that's where we need to head. We really do. And we're talking people are more informed today than they ever have been in since the beginning of time. People have internet access right at their fingertips. There's all kinds of excellent information out there about habitat improvements, about let's be conservationists, and let's not just be shooters.
Right.
And let's do this right. We have an opportunity here to possibly change the course of CWD by trying something new.
Right.
And trying something that hasn't been tried before.
What do they say? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results?
Exactly. Right. And if they expect a different result, I'm here to tell you that's insanity, because they're going to end up with the same result. And only they're going to have a lot less hunters than they had, and it's going to be a mess. So my thing with the DNR, okay, they've done this, all right? That's done. For whatever reason, they are refusing to hear us. They're you guys know my history with them. It's been absolutely the most frustrating thing that I can ever think of. So now we need to convince the NRC, because ultimately they're the ones that are going to rubber stamp this.
Right.
So we need to convince the NRC, number one, not to do this, number two, to take heed to the hunters that are going to be out there doing the shooting in the conservation and doing the ones. They're going to be boots on the ground out there taking care of this. So our hope is that the NRC can see this and they can actually make amendments to the DNR's reg package, okay, and they can maybe possibly get APRs implemented and possibly eliminate some of the crap like the October season and the unlimited bell tags, and and implement some regulations that make sense, that are common sense. Moving forward, that's our goal. So we have a lot of things working with the legislature. Tristan Cole has been in constant contact with me and the department, and basically he said, to the department, if this moves forward, you can expect to see legislation of some kind this fall when the legislature reconvenes. So,
well, the thing that I've been thinking about, and I've mentioned it to a few people, the NRC board, they're appointed by the governor. Am I right?
Yes.
Why doesn't the Sportsman of Michigan since they don't want to really go, the NRC doesn't want to use Proposal G, sound science, which we voted on in past years ago, if they're going to do their own thing and kind of go against that, why doesn't the hunters and outdoorsmen of Michigan band together and support a governor that supports us in appointing the NRC, the people on the NRC?
Well, so that's been part of our process. Okay, so Dean Smith, their vice president. I'm the president of Michigan Deer Hunters Club. Dean is the vice president. Him and myself and Jim Brocker, who's one of our board members, went to meet with the Attorney General's office. Okay, there's a really good chance that Bill Schuette is going to be our next governor. Okay, so we went and met with his office and his top aides. We didn't meet with Bill himself, but sometimes meeting with his aides is actually better than meeting with the guy himself, because they can process all the information and they can, get it to him. Right. So we met with them, and it was almost incredible. So one of the aides doesn't know anything about deer hunting, right? Nothing. Okay. So we laid out everything we know about APRs and about disease control and about everything that we've been fighting for. And she sits back in her chair, crosses her arms, and looks at this and says, "This makes perfect sense." Somebody that's never deer hunted a day in her life can look at what we're proposing and go, "This makes perfect sense." But yet, the Department of Natural Resources, with their hotshot biologists and everything else, can't see the writing on the wall. Okay. Well, instead, here we are. And if we can do so many great things with our group, with 30,000 people, well, we could help the department in many areas.
Here's my next question, and I'm running off on a tangent here, so just bear with me for a minute. But when there's a problem at hand and you can't figure out the problem usually lies where the money's coming from. Is there, or do you know, there's a reason to do this to possibly keep the problem going along, so there's more federal funding coming into
follow the money trail,
into the DNR's budget to combat this problem? Or am I on the wrong track?
I would seriously hope not, because if that ever was discovered, it would be curtains for everybody involved.
It wouldn't surprise me in the least.
It could have a key factor in it, but I know that we have the commission is heavily tilted towards the ag industry. Our own DNR director is an ag guy. Why do we have? Listen to this. Why do we have no deer managers on the commission?
It's a good question.
Very good question.
Does that make sense? So a gentleman that was mentioned early on, Wayne Sitton, manages Turtle Lake. Why in God's name is he not on that commission?
That's a very good question.
I mean, right. So what our target was we're going to go to the next governor and say, listen, we have a huge voter base of 3,000 or 30,000 members that we can encourage to vote for you. But this is what we want. We're not going to put our weight behind you if you don't tell us what we want to hear on regulations for quality. We have Tristan and Kurt Granowald and Scott Van Single all in our corner, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to see to it that people know who they are and to get them familiar with their names. And it's all about name recognition when it comes to election time. And those are the guys that we want to be reelected, because they're on our side. They're the ones fighting
for us. Right, absolutely.
If we can get Schuette in there, and he would be able to appoint a couple of new commissioners that are actually deer managers, like Wayne Sitton. We'd be sitting pretty. But until that happens, it's going to be a total battle, and it's just been frustrating. I hope you can sense that in my voice.
Definitely. You
frustrating road.
Kind of like hitting your head against the brick wall.
It is, and we could do so many great things. You've seen what we've done at our summits. We could do youth initiatives. We could do hunter recruitment initiatives. We could listen. Guys are going to take it coming from us a whole lot better than they're going to take it coming from the DNR. If we say, listen, guys, we really need to do a better job of shooting does. Okay. They're going to take it from us a whole lot better than they are coming from the Department of Natural Resources. Why aren't they letting us, working with us? Because, and then Director Cray at the meeting the other day basically chewed out Eric Snell, the president of the Michigan chapter of QDMA, for his verbiage that he used towards this proposal. Well, listen, Director Cray, this proposal is a train wreck. It's a disaster waiting to happen. And so, excuse the hell out of me for being a little bit blatant or a little bit forward in my verbiage. And that's what Eric's response should have been to him, but obviously it was a public forum and it wasn't. But
and he got mad at somebody giving their opinion of what they said this was, and he chewed him out.
Yep. Right in front of the whole commission, in front of God himself. And then he started barking about partnerships. Well, you know what, Director Cray? Partnerships, it's a two-way street. It takes a partner to be a partner. And if you're not going to partner with us, why in the heck do you think we would partner with you? And you know what? He also led us down a path, said that Mr. Mason was no longer going to be part of our regulations, our deer regulation decision-making process, and that we weren't going to have to deal with him anymore. But yeah, here we are. Nothing changed.
Nothing's changed, right?
All he did was tell us that to shut us up.
Yeah, the partnership is us towing the line of what they tell us to do and wanting us to sell it to people. Right. And that's not a partnership. That's a dictatorship.
Right. Exactly. So it's time. You know what? It's time for the department to start partnering with groups like Let 'Em Go, Let 'Em Grow, Michigan or QDMA, Michigan Bow Hunters. All these groups that are. You know what? I've never heard MUCC say anything positive because they couldn't about antler point restrictions.
It's because their hands are tied.
Specifically of their policy. Right. Well, the director, Dan Eckinger, sat in front of the commission and offered basically support for APR, saying, why not try this? We've tried everything else that hasn't worked. Why not try this? You know what? The other thing they could do is this is not going to be a year or two process. This is going to be a decades-long process. Let's try this for 3 seasons, collect all of our data, and then make an educated decision on whether APRs are effective.
Yeah, are they moving us in the right direction, or are they not, or is it staying the same? I mean, it's
right.
3 years is enough time to gauge it.
Yeah, you could do. I emailed the commissioners on prior to the meeting and dropped the the suggestion about an app. Okay, everybody's got a smartphone. If you don't have one, somebody sitting next to you's got one. So let's create an app that you set countywide quotas. So just say Nuevo County, they want to shoot 10,000 does. I'm just throwing that number out there. Okay, so on this application, hunters download it. If they shoot a doe, they go over to the doe, they take a picture of the barcode. Okay, that gets submitted to the department. The department knows which county it was shot in. They can track it in real time, what's being harvested and where. Okay, and then hunters can also then log onto this app, and you can see the progress that the hunters are making. Okay. Say we're closing in towards the end of gun season. Well, we're still 3,000 animals from our goal. So then we can get out there and say, hey guys, we need to, we're running short.
Get it done.
We need to shoot some more does. We've got to get it done. And then if we still aren't there, then let's start talking about a late doe season.
And you know how simple this could all be with
what I've been preaching for years.
Way technology is
a mandatory deer check, and it's that easy. It's that easy.
You scan your tag. You scan your tag, and you submit it. And I'm talking just for. I mean, this could be used on buck harvest and doe harvest, but I'm specifically talking for doe harvest. Mm-hmm. You could do it for every single county in the state. And if you know what, if you don't have reception in that certain spot, listen, it's the 21st century. You can drive 10 miles and get reception and submit it or whatever.
I did it in 2009 in Illinois. That's the way I had to do mine. And that was in 2000. That was 11 years ago.
Right.
No, 9 years ago.
Right. So let's get an app, an app done and track this thing, and let's get hunters engaged on it, and keep them engaged in hunting in those areas with some trophy potential.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of things that the Natural Resource Commission was thrown at, and I truly believe that they heard the hunters loud and clear, because you'd have to be deaf if you didn't hear testimonies in support of it. So I believe that they heard what the hunters want. I believe that they know that without hunter participation, this is going to get ugly. They can't sharpshoot their way out of this mess. They can't.
You can't. And if they're going to cheese off the hunters, they're kind of oopsing it there.
Well, and who pays for 60% of the DNR's budget? Buys the guys and gals who buy the tags. So
deer hunters pay for 60% of it. And the other thing that they need to look at that they somehow refuse to acknowledge is Northwest 12. When it was resurveyed, after you guys hunted under it for 4 years, 76% of hunters wanted to make it permanent.
Yep.
76%. So that should be the only number they needed to see before they went statewide with this.
Well, in the political arena, that's a supermajority.
Right.
That is an incredible supermajority.
Yep.
That is 10 points beyond a supermajority.
Exactly.
So that should have been all they needed to see. And yet here we are.
Yep.
Why can't we have what the Holy Grail in the Northwest 12 has statewide? Why can we not do that? Why are the people that are making the decisions not able to see this and grasp this? And if the DNR can't see it and grasp it, then by God, the people that are going to be stamping it at the end of this, hopefully they can see it.
Well,
and then hopefully we can continue to let to talk to our state reps, talk to our governor, and maybe we can get some leadership within the DNR that actually gets it. Okay, Craig doesn't get it. O'Neill doesn't get it. Mason doesn't get it. And I thought Chad Stewart got it, but he clearly doesn't get it. I talked to him for over an hour on the phone, and it was like throwing a Super Ball against a cement wall. So,
well, for everybody out here that's listening on the live stream or the podcast, either one, I mean, we've given a lot of information tonight of what's been going on. For those that want to get involved, they want to do something, they feel led to do something, what can the average hunter out there, what can they do to make a difference?
We need people to write their legislatures, write the NRC commission, call them, talk to them, invite one of the commissioners out for dinner or a coffee, get hands on deck. We cannot continue to sit back and let somebody else do all the legwork. There's only 20 of us in our leadership group. We can't be the only ones that are petitioning the DNR, petitioning the Natural Resource Commission, petitioning our state representatives and the governor. We have to have support in that process. And listen, I'm calling people out, man. We got to get to this meeting in July.
You got a July meeting?
We don't have a huge showing. What's that?
You got a July meeting coming up, and where's that going to be at?
That's going to be, you hold my hand on the fire. I think that's in Lansing also. I'll post our information on the page. Let them go, let them grow. We we can share it back to your page. But it's the July meeting, and we need to have people show up to this meeting in force. You know, last year at the Scottville meeting, we gave away a 450 Bushmaster. They said, listen, you show up to that meeting, you're going to get a Let 'em Grow shirt, and you're going to be entered to draw to win this Bushmaster. We had 50 people show up. We offered a $1,000 bow. All you had to do was write one of the Natural Resource Commissioners and show that you wrote them. And you'd be entered in to draw it to win this bow. We had like 75 people do it. That's not enough.
No, we need 7,500.
Right, and I'm not giving away nothing this year. You know what? If you guys want this, then by God, you better freaking do it.
Get out and
show up to the meeting, and you better freaking let your voice be heard. So, because it's that important that they see what's going on. So, get out there and talk to these people.
That's right. Yeah, like you said, boots on the ground, right? Justin.
It is. It's boots on the ground.
Justin Garofalo. It's too bad they won't listen to what the majority of Michigan deer hunters want. Tom Witt. The reason is to eradicate all the deer, which is going to stop nothing. The DNR will kill way more deer than CWD ever will. Ron Moses says the NRC is listening, guys. They just need to call in. Tom Wood again.
Yeah.
I've been in western states several times, which has had CWD for 50 years, and have seen more deer and quality, better bucks than anywhere hunted ever in Michigan. Kevin Craven said, did Director Cray say something about calling spikes?
He did at one point, yes. And that's the other problem, is we have the director of the Department of Natural Resources still thinks that spikes need to be called. That's been debunked so many frickin' times, it's ridiculous. And so, my whole thing is the department wants to save deer from CWD, from dying of CWD by killing all the deer.
I'm sorry to laugh, but that's just how crazy that sounds.
That's how funny it is. That's how ridiculous it is. Let's save the deer from CWD by killing them all.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we're bumping up here. We've been going for about an hour.
Yeah.
It's Father's Day, and I know you're with family, so I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, my family's chomping at the bit. They're coming in looking at me like,
let's go.
Let's speed this up.
Yeah.
They put up with a lot, let me tell you.
Yeah, they're saying, come on, guys from UNJ, let them go.
Right.
We want to go.
Right, exactly.
So,
but it's always good to have you on. We'll have you on again, obviously. If anybody, just a reminder, check out Maxx, PackerMax2X's.com. Check out
Facebook page
as well. Go over there, check it out.
Michigan Deer Hunters Let 'em Grow page on Facebook as well.
Which is sitting at 30,597 at the present second.
That's a good voting population.
It sure is.
That can swing a vote.
Yeah, we need to really start concentrating on jumping that number too, because at the end of the day, numbers sell, and we need to be strong, and so yeah. If you're not a member of the group, I really encourage you to join the movement, and
a lot of good information over there.
Try to make our state, one of the destination states, in spite of CWD.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Lincoln, it's been a good hour here chatting with you. Good luck with the Packer Maxx. You got a great product there.
Appreciate it.
And we'll talk again after this NRC meeting and see where we stand with some stuff. So
that sounds good. And again, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate the opportunity to get on the show, talk about these things, and continue to get the word out. And that's what we really need to do. And I also appreciate the opportunity to talk about my business and the Packer Maxx and
hey, no problem. Anytime, you just give us a shout.
To the next level.
All right, man. You have a good Father's Day. We're going to cut you loose, and we'll talk to you here real soon.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, take care.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep, bye. All right, folks, we're going to step outside. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this. And those of you on the live stream, hang on. We got one more segment. We'll keep it short, but I never want to stop Lincoln when he's on a roll.
Well, it's not that it just, you obviously can see the passion that he has, but it's
Absolutely.
obviously, I'm sorry, but if you got people making comments, and it kind of it blows my mind if the director or whatever his name is chewing out somebody
For their opinion.
of their proposal, and he's chewing them out for that. That tells me volumes about that person. It's like, I'm calling your baby ugly. Yes, I am.
Yeah. It's an open forum, and you asked for my opinion. I'm giving it to you.
Right, and now you're going to yell at me for it?
Yeah.
So, and Kevin Craven said it, the NRC is made up of political appointees, most of which know nothing about the outdoors.
That's the reason in the last couple of years I've been talking with people, and I said, we need a governor who's going to listen to us and appoint people that are going to take care of our resource.
And Tom Witt, look how many deer they killed off in Wisconsin, yet Dr. Kroll says only 10 deer have died from CWD. That makes no sense to kill off a herd.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that plays right into my... it's hard to tell something there's a disease out there.
Do you want to get this back on the next segment? Hang on. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back for the last segment. I had to calm Danny down for a minute and kind of ratchet him back a little bit. He was on his soapbox here in the break.
Yeah, I have not as tall a soapbox as you do. But
I haven't got mine out in a while. But
Go ahead. It bugs me when Lincoln tells me that, first of all, the director chews out somebody who's given their opinion.
Right.
Okay. Wait a second. You asked for my opinion. I'm telling you, yes, I'm calling your baby ugly.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you're chewing me out for it.
Right.
Got a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at who's all up there, like Kevin Craven said. You guys know nothing about the outdoors.
Absolutely.
Go back to Lincoln. How come we don't have somebody on there that knows about the outdoors?
It's a circus.
It
really is. It's a circus.
I hope I have my conspiracy theories, but follow the money.
Well, that's kind of why I brought that up.
I know how games work and play, and if you've got a budget, you need to fill the budget with money.
You got to create a problem.
You got to create a problem.
Yep.
Kind of like the common cold.
Yep.
If they ever came up with the solution to the common cold, take out 2 aisles of every drugstore in the world and tell me who would be hurting.
Right.
Can't do that.
Right.
So I hope it's not true. But it is what it is. And like Lincoln said, we got to get boots on the ground. They got to get to the July NRC meeting.
July 14th.
They're hoping, and Lincoln thinks they're listening, but Lincoln says he was working with them for 7 years, and there was groups before that, but nothing's changed.
Well, there may be something to report later on. That's all I can say.
Well, that's what we hope. That's what we hope, right?
I talked to a few people yesterday. There might be something coming up. There might be an opportunity for some one-on-one meetings and things of people in a certain setting, and that's all I can say about that.
Well, that would
right
be
now.
good.
So
that would be awesome. But okay, so I'm done now.
all right. But speaking of yesterday,
Yes, yesterday.
we'll wrap this up and keep it quick because I know we're running on long tonight. But I made a trip over to the west side of the state, or actually the middle of the state, over to Elma. One of the local QDMA chapters there put on a prescribed burn seminar that I went to. Adam Kimmer. Wayne Sitton has my vote for the next appointed NRC committee member. You got that right, Adam. So I went over to the seminar over there, and this was put out, like I said, the local group there, on a piece of property that they were hoping to do a burn on that day. And it was Dr. Craig Harper from the University of Tennessee who actually did one of the modules for Deer Steward 1.
Okay.
The prescribed fire.
All right.
The one I just finished up. So I'm like, hey, cool, I'm going to get to go see the guy that, I took this thing from and maybe learn a little more. And it was really nice getting there. And actually, I took a few pictures. I'll throw them up here on the live stream as we're going along.
So everybody that's on the podcast is listening to this last episode. Go over to Facebook. Go to towards the end of the show. You can see the pictures.
It. Yeah, absolutely. So, and photo, that's Dr. Harper right there. But it was taking the information that I learned in the module, hearing it again in a setting where, like right here, we're out in the middle of this field that they were hoping to burn, but we didn't because of weather conditions. It just wasn't. We weren't able to do it. But being able to ask questions and him to explain things into why, a fire in April is different than a fire in September.
Oh, yeah.
You get different results, the intensity of the fire, the things you're burning, what you're trying to burn, what are you trying to accomplish with it, and actually showing you things, hands-on showing you right there and explaining things was phenomenal. It really brought a couple things home.
Well, did it take what you learned in book sense and kind of put it into 3D sense? Like you read it on a book, you read it online, and all of a sudden now here you are with other people, the guy who did it, right. And now all of a sudden you're getting it live action. Yeah,
absolutely. It's,
that's cool.
I guess it'd be like taking information you learn in the locker room as a football team. The coach is on the blackboard drawing X's and O's. And this is how we're going to run the play. Then you go out and you execute the play, and you're ready for game.
That's right.
And this was supposed to be the practice.
Yes.
Like I said, because of the weather, we couldn't put fire in the ground. But the point is it took us out into the field and actually showed us, which I thought was pretty awesome. That was a field. This is actually, it doesn't look like a section of woods, but it is. It's an opening within the woods.
Okay.
Where I took this photo at, and he was talking about the difference in open canopy, closed canopy, how much canopy to get something to grow, what happens when you run fire through the woods, what intensities and things of that nature. So and you get to ask questions, he answers. You get all these people around asking questions from their point of view.
How many people were there?
30 to 40, okay. I'm guessing, 30, 40 people. So, but then after we went out and did the walk around the property, we actually came back up to the main part of the setting where we were doing the gathering at, and they had a tent set up, and they were actually hoping to show a video, or not video, but basically it was his demonstration he did for Deer Steward 1. He was going to go through the slides and explain things again and get a little more in detail. And we ran into a problem outside, so we moved it inside of a barn here. You can see this was the setting. It was inside a barn.
It's a barn.
And the part that really cracked me up. Okay, so you go into this barn. We're sitting in these fold-up chairs. You can see a makeshift screen there. If you notice, the projector's setting on a tree stand. I don't think a tree stand's ever been used quite like that before.
I don't think so.
And right outside the door is a chicken coop.
Okay.
And as he get ready to start, all of a sudden, the chickens and the roosters start cackling and crowing. And he said, I've competed against a lot of things in my life. He said, but I've never had to compete against chickens.
There you go. First time for everything. Yeah. Competing against chickens.
So, but yeah, it was a good time.
Oh, good. I really wish they could have put fire on the ground because I'd like to have heard your view of that.
I really was hoping, and I really wanted to see it, but it just wasn't.
Weather's weather, right?
Yeah. Well, we had rain the night before. Humidity was high, and it was just too wet and damp.
Burn conditions were not ideal.
No. So, it is what it is.
It is, absolutely. But you got out there, you learned it.
Yep. So, Adam says he wished he could have made it to the burn seminar. Yeah, it was pretty cool, Adam. If you take the Deer Steward 1 class online through University of Clemson, that's what we were doing there at this seminar this weekend. A lot of that is online.
Cool.
But like I said, the hands-on portion of it was, to me, was what was valuable.
Yeah, that's always important. You can read it, watch a video, but as soon as you get that hands-on feeling, or
Well, let me show this picture again here. This first one. You know, the biggest thing here is like, okay, you hear people talking about forbs. Deer eat forbs. You know, they have browse. Browse is woody stem. Forbs is more of your green, your leafy material. You know, your soft green leafy plants. And how many times have you looked and seen fields like this in Michigan?
A lot.
What do you think when you first see them?
Well, first of all, I think it's usually not good.
Yeah, I look at that and I go,
other than it could be a good fawning area.
But I'm like, there's nothing in that.
Now knowing what we know.
But actually, you look at that, and he was going through, and there's all kinds of plants in there that deer eat. And I was just like, wow. Because that was the thing I really need to start looking into and learning is, okay, what are the forbs that deer prefer?
Right.
And, you know, and he's going through, and he says, this feels loaded full of it. You know, he says, it's loaded. He said, but it does need to be burned and reestablished.
Okay, so did he say if you burn it, it'll reestablish what you need better? More of what they need?
Depends on what you're trying to do with it. If you burn it in the spring, if you burn it in the late summer, early fall. He said, I feel like this to kind of reestablish it and keep the woody stemmed material from growing up like the shrubs and the thicker woody stem plants. You burn a field like this every 2 to 4 years. And it'll come through and it'll burn those woody stem plants out, and it'll come back with this type of field here, you know, with the forbs. So, but yeah, it was really eye opening, and you know, it was cementing the facts that I learned along with the visual, you know, and it made it a little more clear.
You look at things differently.
Absolutely.
A woods, a field, a water source.
So
yeah, that's what you do.
But that was my Father's Day weekend.
There you go.
So, well, dude, we're running up on close to an hour and 15, 20 minutes here.
Yeah, we are.
So,
but other than that, let's have a good rest of our Father's Day.
Absolutely.
And, happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there.
Absolutely. And for those of y'all out there on the live stream, if you got any questions, throw them our way. We're going to wrap up the podcast here at this point. And next week, we got anything that's really shaking right now?
Nothing on the burner right now.
Nothing on the burner. So, but tune in next week. We'll be back again same time and same bat channel, as we say. And
right.
You can always catch the podcast Monday.
Podcast Monday, and we'll
live stream on Wednesday. So that'll do it for us this week, folks. For those of you on the live stream, if you got some questions, feel free to share them with us. And that scared me there for a minute. I thought we just lost a whole segment.
That's what I was just about to say.
For those of you on the live stream, if you see my eyes go whoop.
Yeah, something happened. Oh, a driver stopped, it looked like.
Yeah. So just as we hit stop, so that's good. So I hope everybody had a good Father's Day weekend out there. Looking on the live stream, still got 5 people on. If you guys got questions or anything you want to throw away real quick, we'll entertain a few questions if you'd like about whatever you got.
Right. Wayne Sitton's gathering votes left and right, and he's not even
right.
Wayne, how's politics?
Right. So
let's go here.
Well, I don't see anything popping in here.
Yeah, no, I think we're all set.
Right off the top. So I'll tell you what, folks, we're going to wrap up the live stream here this week. Feel free to share the live stream if you